Hollywood Unlocked Uncensored.
What up, everybody? This is Jason Lee, and this is Hollywood Unlocked Uncensored. And before we turn the camera over, I don't want to hear nothing from nobody. Actually, I do. I want to hear all the excitement in the world because, as you know, on the last show, motherfucker was trying me, and I didn't know what I was going to do. That's why we had this new set. But guess what? We have a double surprise today. Guess who's back?
Hi, everybody. It's Melyssa Ford, a.k.a. The Curve Queen, and she's back. Hi.
As you can see, she's back, and it's DJ Damage. Let's get the show started.
Okay, so listen, Melyssa Ford is back, and I don't know, people right now are sending this over to people say, what the fuck happened?
I know, I've been moving in silence, like very, very quietly, and this has been something that, you know, we've discussed, but it feels like the time is just right.
Well, listen, everybody just online, there's all this speculations. By the way, me and Melyssa have never fallen out. We did unfollow each other a couple times because, you know, we were trying to figure out, bitch, did you unfollow me? Nigga, did you unfollow me? But anyway.
You know that's considered a falling out, though.
No, there was no. It's social media.
Yeah,
we're friends in real life. But
okay,
no, I mean, Melyssa, you were, the last time the viewer saw you, you were literally, you had left the show and then you were involved in a near fatal accident.
Yeah, it was literally the next day. My last show was Wednesday, June 27th.
Really?
Yeah.
That's almost a year.
Yeah. And you weren't here. You were taping Wild 'N Out. You were in Atlanta. And I want to say that it was Gio and I and whoever else was doing the show with us. And then the next day was Tank was getting married to Zena, who's now his wife. And Congrats. She was having her bridal shower. And I was on my way to her bridal shower when my Jeep was involved in an accident.
And then I was in Atlanta, and so I was getting text messages, and we were coordinating people getting to you, and I know people had got to you, and you had people that were by your side, because I saw Roxy recently, not too long ago, and we don't really know each other that well, but I pulled her aside and I said, man, you're a real friend because you were there. Who were the people that were there with you in the hospital?
Well, God, it was really fascinating to see who they called. So here's a really strange fact. I had two phones at the time. I had my iPhone and
you weren't texting. So
no. So thank God, no, irresponsible rumors were spread, because the reality of the situation is it was 12:37 p.m. Bright and early. It was like 80 degree, perfectly clear day. I had my phone that had directions mounted. I had my seatbelt on. I had, my Jeep wasn't in its convertible fashion. It had its roof on. That becomes part of the story later. And I had all my faculties, meaning I wasn't under the...
No champagne.
No nothing. No open containers. No nothing.
Because you know they say the Illuminati killed you.
You apparently were trying to sacrifice me.
Don't laugh too hard, Jason.
No,
I'm sorry.
We've never really had the conversation about it, but I just want to say to you, from my mouth to your ears, I didn't call the Illuminati. Like, I had nothing to do with that. Where the fuck did this come? Somebody sent me a link and said, motherfucker, you tried to kill her. And I'm like, what?
A few people sent me stuff saying, watch your back. Jason tried to sacrifice. I was like, okay.
That's insane, yo.
Okay. But yeah, so it was bright. It was, the afternoon, and everything was going according to plan, but there was actually signs that this was going to happen, and I'll get to that later. But so my phone's not a crack on the screen. You could drop your phone right now and the whole thing will shatter. So you
demolished an entire car.
So the car's demolished, but the phones are totally fine.
We're perfect.
Yeah, and I flipped 5 times on the 134.
Oh,
so for people who are listening to this, and specifically those who are watching, you know what's so crazy? I'm sitting here watching you. You're in a much better place now.
Oh, God.
Than you were, because what people don't know, I mean, we don't shoot this as a reality show.
Yeah.
You had actually come back to the show.
I tried.
And you were dressed. I thought you looked beautiful as ever, same as you do today. You were ready to go, and then you had a crazy breakdown.
Yeah. Part of what happens with traumatic brain injury, I mean, there's so many symptoms that you experience. There's emotional and social irritability, anger. When I say the onset of depression is a monster that it was stronger than me. And I've dealt with bouts of depression almost my whole life. I remember the first time I ever felt feelings of depression. I was 9. So it's not at all strange to me. It's still sad, but it's not at all strange to me when I hear about 9-year-olds or 11-year-olds that have attempted or committed suicide, because I remember being that young and feeling those feelings. A lot of it being related to bullying as well doesn't help matters, but the depression that comes with a traumatic brain injury is just something I wasn't equipped to handle. And you got to understand, like, your serotonin and dopamine receptors are your natural mood stabilizers. Yeah. And when they're not functioning properly, that basically means that you succumb into these abysmal lows that
you
are.
Should go with these goddamn words again. We miss these goddamn words. What the fuck is an abysmal?
It's the lowest of like suicidal. Like, there was days I could not see tomorrow.
No, I mean, I know. And part of where I was challenged, because I really think of you, like, to know you personally and to hear your stories of what you've been through in the industry with people, just with life in general. I mean, you're not even from our fucking country, but getting here and being able to not have Trump show up at the border with a damn wall. No, but you've been through a lot. So for me, it was really hard to process seeing you. I don't want to say weak, but I would say at a weak moment.
Yeah.
Vulnerable.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've seen you vulnerable.
Yeah.
But not like that. I mean, like, honestly, I didn't even. And I'll admit, like, I probably wasn't like the best friend I could have been at the time, because I don't know how to deal. Like, as much as I love conflict online, I don't like conflict. But more importantly, when you think of your friends, like, I wouldn't think that day that was going to happen to you. You don't live a reckless life. You're not out sleeping around or hanging with people who are dangerous. You live a pretty consistent,
risk-averse life.
Yeah. That part. And then so for that to happen at that magnitude, and the photos and the images and this and that.
Yeah.
It was like I didn't really even know how to really process it all.
You're not alone. A lot of people didn't know how to process it, because for a lot of people, I've been the strongest one in their life. I've been, the source of
advice.
I've been like an auntie, a big sister,
Voice of
a
reason.
mom, voice of reason.
Jason, you can't do that.
I talk people off of ledges, and because, I'm very private, and I really never talk much about my home life, my mom, my dad. I might say things here and there, but people just kind of thought of me as like an island in and of myself.
I think when people talk about you too, they don't talk about you, Melyssa, for a person.
Yeah.
You're like an image.
Yeah.
Or a fantasy.
Yeah.
Or it's like Melyssa Ford, the brand.
I'm not a tangible thing, So when something happened where my life was almost taken, and a lot of people had to envision the idea of me not being here, because most of the people in New York did not hear the outcome of the accident that I survived. They just heard that I was in a really bad car accident. And then when friends started to call around to hospitals, I was under an alias. So no hospital had a record of a patient under my name. So there was at least a 24-hour span of time where friends from the East Coast couldn't get in touch with anybody from the West Coast, and thought that the worst had happened, and so when I got on the phone with them, after the fact, I mean, I had grown men like bawling on the phone, and these are just friends of mine, but they were bawling because they were confronted with mortality, and in a way that they just were not prepared for, like on a Thursday afternoon, so that was really strange. Really weird. The other thing was they just started calling everybody on my phones, like just calling everybody. Like
the people that found you?
Yeah. Like, the EMT people and nurses and stuff like that.
Wait, so you're on the freeway, you're on your way to see Tank and Zena.
To Zena. It was her bridal shower.
Zena, okay. Yeah. And then, so you get hit by, they tell you it's a big rig that hit you.
Yeah, like a semi with the tractor trailer thing.
So do you remember, when was the last thing you remembered, or what was the last memory?
I felt the impact, and it was enormous. And I'm a driver. there's certain things people were born to do, and I was born to drive. I can drive anything with a steering wheel.
Pause.
Yeah. But
That's possible in this relationship.
What makes that a pause?
I can drive anything with a steering wheel. You ain't never fucked nothing with a handlebar? Shit, fucking hang around with me. Anyway.
I don't even want to ask any more questions.
So once the impact was felt, I'm driving a Jeep and it's on a 3-inch suspension kit. So it's high and it's got the big 36-inch tires, so that doesn't necessarily feel the most stable when you're up on that, And so once the impact hit the back tire, the car just started to spin out of control. And so I did what I thought was the idea. So like it's going in this direction. So I start spinning the wheel in the opposite counterclockwise. But then I took my feet off the pedals in order to not like try to increase or decrease speed. That would have been a bigger problem. But the way that has as fast as I was going, it was unavoidable. I knew. I was like, it's about to flip. And I was just like,
so you consciously knew that?
Oh, I knew it. I could feel it. And then I also thought to myself, I was like, I'm not going to make it.
These are brief moments that you're having this, because I'm imagining this is happening very fast.
It's seconds, but they also feel like an eternity at the same time.
Yeah, because I'm assuming things feel like they're going in slow motion as it's getting ready to happen.
Yeah, it's definitely doing that. So when I realized, when I could feel that it was about to flip, I was buckled into my seatbelt, so I just took my hands off the steering wheel and my feet were off the pedals, and I just sat there and waited for it to happen, because I knew there's no point in tensing up. Like, I have a better chance.
Wait, you let the steering wheel go?
Yeah.
Really?
You have a better chance of surviving if you just let your body go slack and go with the movement of whatever's happening, the vehicle or whatever, and whatever come what may. So I started flipping, and so a lot of the memories after that is just really metal, the sound of metal on pavement, which is the worst sound in the entire world. And in the process of my Jeep flipping 5 times, my roof was ripped off. And one of the EMT guys, I could hear him after everything's said and done, and EMT's there, I could hear him saying she was driving a convertible Jeep with no top. And I'm like, who the fuck is he talking about? Because I had the hard top roof, but the roof had gotten ripped off. And that's where I got the skull fracture from, and like the concussion and bleeding on my brain was because when my Jeep came to rest, it came to rest upside down. So the slack
Were you still in the seat?
I'm buckled in.
Upside down.
Upside down. So when my Jeep came to rest upside down, once it landed, my head hit the pavement. So that's what cracked open my head. And
so what injuries did you have?
So I had a skull fracture. My head was cracked open like an egg. My brain was bleeding, massive concussion. I was knocked out. I don't know how long I was out. I have no idea. But from what I've been told, Good Samaritans, whoever you are, I thank you for everything. They stopped, and apparently 3 guys picked up my Jeep, and the 4th one pulled me out. The pictures that everyone saw, I saw them at the same time.
Yeah, I was like, who took those pictures?
Some guy literally was afraid that he was going to lose his job. So in order to say, like, I helped a girl on the highway, his boss.
Wait, so somebody who was helping you wanted to have proof that he stopped to help somebody.
Yes.
Yeah. But he didn't know he was taking a picture of you.
He had no idea. No one knew who I was at the time, because I had blood everywhere, all over my face. And so he's taking pictures and video of everything. And so the video and the pictures that everybody saw that went into People Magazine and Us Weekly and Radar Online and everywhere, I saw them with everybody else. Like, it was a shock, like, to see this. I wasn't offended, but it just was like an out-of-body experience, and it told a very specific story of, like, the best of humanity, because this was a white guy, a Latin guy, a black guy. Like, there's a white girl there. Like, I don't know who these people are, but one guy had taken his shirt off and he was holding my head closed, like my head wound closed.
God.
And then somebody else had taken their hat off and they were holding it above my head because it was a really bright sunny day. So, and I don't remember them at all. Like I have no recollection of having any conversation with them or seeing them. The next thing I remember after the spinning and everything else like that was I was laying on my back and I felt the warmth of the pavement because it was a really warm day. And I was like thinking, why is my back so warm? And I'm just looking up at the sun. And then all of a sudden
Did you think you was in heaven?
I didn't know where the hell I was.
After that, you look up and you see a big old bright light.
She's delusional at this point, though.
So were you just out of it? Like you didn't know what was happening?
I didn't, the accident, I didn't know anything had happened.
Did you feel any pain at that time?
Not at that moment.
Okay.
Well,
No,
adrenaline is probably
shock.
yeah,
I was
shock,
in complete and total
But
shock
good.
at this time. So I didn't feel anything other than the fact that I couldn't really open this eye, and it's because there was so much blood pooling in it.
Yeah, I saw the photo. You had a lot of blood all over your face.
Yeah, and so then all of a sudden, I feel warmth on my back, so it's the pavement that I'm laying on, the highway, the 134. And then I start to see these faces above me, but they're all wearing yellow, so that's EMT guys. And then I hear the static of radios and and then I can kind of see the flurry of activity. And then I just was like, I thought to myself, I was like, that didn't just happen. And I just kind of looked to the side and I saw my Jeep just smashed upside
And
down.
you love that Jeep.
You
and
know I love
I mean,
that
you love
Jeep.
that Jeep, but the thing people don't know is like you always had a dream, like that was your dream car.
It was since I was a little girl. I've wanted a convertible Jeep. I envisioned myself driving down the, Pacific Coast Highway with my, hair blowing in the wind, like total,
You definitely got to tie it down.
or wear braids or something. But yeah, no, it was my dream car, and just the big dirty tires and the
Yeah.
suspension kit. It was like I loved that Jeep, and to see it just there, it was like I felt like I was suffering like another version of death, It just
Was there ever a time where vanity came into play where you thought of, because I mean, you're a girl's girl, but you're not like the typical like everything always has to be perfect all the time.
I'm definitely
girl.
not that girl.
Did vanity ever play a part where you were wondering like, how do I look? I hope nothing happened to my face, or
My friends.
I mean, because the people don't really realize the accidents you were in, you could have lost an arm.
Yeah.
You could have really, I've known somebody who's been decapitated. In an
If I
accident
was,
like that.
here's the thing: if I was any taller, I probably would have. But
broken neck.
yeah, because I'm because I'm so short, and how big the Jeep was, that cage. When my head hit the pavement, it caused significant damage. But if I was any taller, I probably would not be sitting here. I don't think that I would be. And a lot of the doctors said the same thing. A lot of people were like, well, she shouldn't have been driving a Jeep, blah, blah, blah. The Jeeps are known for flipping and type thing. I'm like, it was like I hit by a truck. Like, what car's not going to, have to deal
How you
with
gonna survive? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so I feel like the Jeep saved me from some really serious injury because that shit is a tank. Like, I suffered like a lot of like abrasions. I had like, staples and stitches and all kinds of stuff. But the majority of the injury was like the top of my forehead and into my scalp.
And psychological.
And psychological.
But did you ever
Yeah.
feel? Was there ever a vanity component to it where you were like wondering?
Well, for my friends kept mirrors away from me for while I was in the hospital, and I really didn't think about it because the drugs, I get the opioid epidemic in this country. I get it.
Why, what do you mean?
Because of the drugs they gave me.
Drugs are
You
real.
felt-
I learned a lot.
Big drugs.
I learned a lot about narcotics
Did you
in the
feel
hospital. I learned that morphine ain't shit when it comes to fentanyl and Dilaudid.
Which is
Oh, I've had Dilaudid.
Dilaudid is the top of the chain. That's the top. It's
which
above
is
fentanyl.
legal heroin.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
It's really good, but it's really bad.
I
too
mean,
good.
It's good if you need it, but don't need it for too long.
I only allowed them to give me the first 2 days. Like I needed to be under serious medication because the pain when that shit set in was like somebody had taken a sledgehammer to my head. That's exactly what it felt like. or that my head bounced off pavement. But the Dilaudid, after the first couple of days, and how powerful it was, I would only allow them to give me that when I was going to sleep. And when I had like 2 IVs in my arm, when I say they had to like tap that in, they could, if they plunged it in, there's no way you survive. It's so powerful. It feels like this big, massive tsunami wave is hitting you. It's good shit, man.
That's that word.
It was good shit. But I will say that when they handed me like the narcos, the pills, I was like Tyrone Biggums, like I was scratching.
I was at a friend's house one day and I had a lower back pain and I said, man, I need something. And she said, oh, well, just take this pill.
Oh boy.
And I said, well, what is it? And I forgot which pill it was, but it was one of those narcotics. I took that pill. I remember sitting there having a conversation and slobber just started running down my mouth. I go, what the fuck? The fuck?
That's real.
Yeah.
What people don't also may not remember is this was the second head injury that you had.
Oh wow.
Inside of 4 years.
That one time the gorilla hit you with the bottle.
You're lying.
No, she got hit by a gorilla.
I did a
She was at a zoo.
Don't listen to him. I was on a reality show
With a
and
gorilla.
one of my cast members,
Big old gorilla.
in a fit of rage, decided to pick up a full bottle, a magnum of vodka, a bottle shaped like a diamond with all these points and stuff, and smash me in the head with it.
Oh, they watching too many movies.
I've never fully understood what the purpose of that was. I'm just like, we have conversation beats. You knew what this was about.
Because she wanted to be on Love and Hip Hop. She was on the wrong goddamn show.
So did you get a concussion from that?
Yeah, you could still feel the dent in my skull from
So
that.
that happened, and then now this happened.
Yeah.
So how did you get from? Because I'm just sitting here watching you talk, and I'm like, man, damn, Melyssa's back.
I had to go through a lot of therapy.
It was scary. I was scared for you. I ain't gonna lie, because I've never, I will call Melyssa for a few things. One, I call her to say, this nigga ain't shit, or this the nigga that I'm about to get. Or I call Melyssa and be like, I'm about to burn somebody's whole life down. And because I know if she don't say nothing, then that person's life deserves to be burned down. But she'll 9 times out of 10 be like,
Talk you off the ledge.
Why don't you go to sleep? Let's have brunch tomorrow. Then by the time I meet with her, I'm so over it, or she'll talk me out of it. And the third thing is talking to her about all the niggas she should be fucking that she won't give a time of day. But for the most part, I never seen you like that. I never seen you that emotional. I never seen you that vulnerable. I never saw you that scared. I was really scared for you, to the extent that like literally I didn't even know what to say.
I know, and that's fair. A lot of people did not know what to say, and when somebody's going through
On the flip side, there were a lot of people that I don't think that didn't care about you, who all of a sudden did.
That's always.
What is that shit?
There is something called synthetic love that is just kind of like a virus going around, and another thing, what has happened with social media is a lot of people like to insert themselves into, weirdly enough, a tragic situation, which is very fucking weird. You look at
it with Nipsey.
I was about to say, you look at it with the Nipsey situation, like there was a lot of, and that is not to say that people did not feel something for it. But there was some interesting posts, with people who posted pictures of themselves looking sad, talking about Nipsey. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that was...
Okay, but whatever.
Who was that strong friend for you?
Claudia Jordan. I definitely have to say, yeah.
No, I'm going to give her props.
Yeah.
Claudia did step up.
Yeah.
And it was surprising because of the history, I was surprised, but she did step up.
Yeah. Claudia and I have never, people weren't used to us being like, besties, because we weren't, this is an industry that pits women against each other. And so there had always just kind of been like you stay on your side, I'll stay on my side kind of attitude towards each other. Jason always thought it would be a good idea for us to be friends, but it took a while for that to happen, and which was funny,
and a lot of wine probably.
Yeah, which was funny that it took that once we started to become close friends, you and her were like, on the outs with each other.
So recently on April Fool's, she posted that she was pregnant. So I FaceTimed her. I was like, "Bitch, is it real?" And she goes, "Oh my God, you're Hollywood Unlocked's calling me." I go, "Well, like Trump, bitch, the ban has been lifted."
Well, I will say this is that Claudia was one of the people that was in the hospital with me, and this just leads into a whole other conversation that a lot of people had questions about. But Claudia was in the hospital with me, and a couple of my friends were just sitting there, and they were like, "Melyssa, we need to talk about your medical bills. You were not insured." Wow. And I faced a lot of judgment about the fact that I wasn't medically insured. And I'm just
From who?
The public.
I mean, there's people online that have a lot of opinions about things.
They do, and I'm just like, listen, if you have a corporate job or you work for UPS that has benefits, then more power to you. Exactly. That is amazing. But when you work in a business like ours, where you self-fund your life and your dreams, there's no backup plan. You don't really just have $100,000 sitting in the bank, Well, I mean, God bless you if you do, but a lot of people don't. You know what I'm saying? Like it's feast, famine, feast, famine, feast, famine. That's how this business is, and unfortunately, before this and before the incident with, the bottle and whatnot, which was taken care of by production, I wasn't insured, but I'd been healthy my whole life. I've never had anything happen to me. I mean, like I've gotten like a cold or a flu, but so to have my first real, serious thing happen to me to affect my health be this and be faced with, $50,000 to $75,000 to $100,000 in medical bills, that was frightening. And Claudia was like, "We've been talking and we think that you should let us set up a GoFundMe." I was adamant. No, I was humiliated. I was so embarrassed at the idea of people knowing that much about me at my most vulnerable, weakest moment.
Well, I ain't gonna lie. When the GoFundMe thing popped up, I didn't have the relationship with Claudia at the time. Mm-hmm. Then I wasn't able to get to you and talk to you. Mm-hmm. So I didn't understand the GoFundMe thing, and I was a little skeptical. Not really understand because I would have thought maybe pick up a phone or this and that, but there was so much going on, and there were so many people who could have helped who didn't help at the time. But I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people didn't understand that.
Yeah,
and we didn't understand your situation at the time.
Yeah, they were really judgmental of the fact that I hadn't been insured. But I'm like, you'd be hard pressed to find a lot of people in the entertainment industry or just in general. Just in general.
Wait, hello, Obamacare.
Hi, this is
why do you think that's the biggest national conversation happening?
People wanted it.
Healthcare is continuously. Year after year, decade after decade, it is a problem for this country. So I don't understand why the judgment fell so harshly on my shoulders.
And not the government.
Exactly.
Because you come from Canada where I was driving through Canada and it said free dental and free healthcare. I'm like, where the fuck am I at?
And people were like, well, why don't you just go back to Canada? I'm like, I am not a tax-paying citizen in Canada, even though I still have my Canadian passport. I'm here on a green card. I'm not a tax-paying citizen there. So that doesn't work for me either. I was fucked, basically. And so, Claudia and everybody, saying that they wanted to start the GoFundMe, I was really humiliated and I was embarrassed. I was adamant about nope. And when they started to, lay out the bare bones facts, they're like, do you know this hospital has valet and a waterfall? This shit's gonna be super expensive. And it's true, the ambulance, everything.
How'd they choose that hospital? Was it just the
closest?
closest?
It just happened to be, I kind of have to thank Zena for having your bridal shower in Glendale because the accident happened on the border of Pasadena and Glendale. Mm-hmm. So they took me to the closest hospital, which happened to be Huntington Memorial Hospital. This hospital was amazing.
What the hell was your name? Because I remember when I called that, what was the name?
It was the alias.
Olinda Doe.
Olinda.
Like, yo, can I speak to Olinda? I was texting out the room to people, call Olinda.
Yeah, there's a whole story behind the whole alias thing. So, but I'll get to that. But Claudia, they basically, just put it out there, bare bones, what this was going to look like. And I didn't have that kind of money to just,
to just give away.
Exactly. There's no way I would have had that. So she was like, let me start the GoFundMe. And so I said, okay. And, you got to think about it like this. I could not be responsible for anything at that moment. Like, my brain had been bounced off the concrete, so I could.
Well, even some of your cognitive thinking. I mean,
all of it, and it lasted for months and months. I left there in a walker. I had to have physical therapy that included gait retraining, and just my balance issues, which I still kind of have to this day and take medication for. I couldn't walk without the walker for a good month. After the car crash. But
you know what's crazy? I was never not confident that you weren't going to pull through, because I know you're a strong person. And I remember we went to brunch and we're like in the middle of a conversation. You just started crying. I'm like, what is going on? Because emotionally you were all over the place.
Yeah.
Remembering things, you were all over the place.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on, but I never doubted that you were going to be strong enough to pull through.
There's times where cognitive issues that people have with traumatic brain injury is they will repeat themselves a lot, because there's like a loop going on inside your head and you don't remember what the hell you just said. It's and so I have to kind of check, like, did I just make sense right now?
Yeah, I mean, one of the fears that you said, I mean, just as me sharing this, our private conversations, you were like, just even like having this detailed conversation about topics, you were scared to do that.
Yeah, because I wasn't capable of having a linear conversation. I wasn't capable of doing it. I didn't trust myself. It just, and you all know that I'm, like the queen of words and stuff like that. I would be sitting there and I would be thinking, like, I think I know what I want to say, but I'd be searching for a word. Like, I remember one time I was searching for the word to say exterminator, and I was like, it kills fucking bugs, man. Who is that person? And it's just like simple things like that I could not get to.
Well, if you have lice, it's red, and if you have crabs, it's a different type of powder.
So it's the speed of processing information, and my brain is my thing. My ability to communicate is what I'm known for. So take away the thing that you're most known for, that people don't. It's not even a second thought. Take that away from you, and who are you? You know what I mean? Like, the construct of my identity is wrapped around my ability to talk to people, articulate, and process, and help them process their thoughts. That's what, makes me a good interviewer as well, because if somebody's struggling with articulating their thoughts, then I can, bullet pointed, or, wrap it up in a pretty little bow type thing. And I couldn't do that. Like, I couldn't do it. People would literally be speaking to me and I would just be staring at them like, I don't really understand what you just said.
Were there exercises to get that back, or does that come back with time?
You've been going to therapy.
Yeah.
Is it therapy or is it
treatment?
It's
Treatments and therapies. There's like simple things like the big cards with the pictures on the cards, and you basically have to say what they are. And I liked to be aggressive with my therapy and have them, either give me the cards backwards and forwards and stuff like that. I hope I'm articulating this properly, but memory exercises like showing me cards and then hiding them, you know, that sort of thing. There's this thing called hyperbaric oxygen therapy.
The chamber.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the shit Michael Jackson used to sleep in.
Yeah.
He used to sleep in a chamber?
An oxygen chamber. So they put a bracelet on you that kind of grounds you, and it's like this big, kind of dome thing that you kind of get put into. And the reason why they did, as a matter of fact, I got to thank everybody that like hit me up with advice. I was sent so many emails and DMs from people who had either suffered traumatic brain injuries or had family members or close friends or spouses that had suffered. A lot of soldiers that had come back from, war efforts and they had, traumatic brain injury, PTSD and stuff like that. And one particular, I wish I could remember, I'll go into my emails and find her because she just saved me with this suggestion of hyperbaric oxygen therapy. And what it does is it promotes, it puts the body into like a state of angiogenesis, and it's a vital process in wound healing.
We gonna have to put some links or some goddamn
angiogenesis.
We'll put some links to hyperbaric oxygen therapy.
What we will do is, if you're watching this on YouTube,
I'm with it.
Yeah.
If you're watching this on YouTube, go to our website right here, and we're going to actually, in the story post of this episode, put more information and links of what people can find out.
Yeah. And so that I found to be like really helpful. I mean, like just oxygenating your blood, it helps with cell turnover and the development of new red blood cells. You know me, I'm a big fan of anything that staves off the aging process. So it happens to do that, which is, I think, why Michael Jackson liked to lay in it all the time. But yeah, so it just really helps with the formation of like new healthy tissue. And basically my brain had to heal itself. Thank God I didn't have any hematomas or anything like that. But yeah, it was. I'd say that the hardest part for me was the depression. It was just
What was the depression about?
So one of the things, symptoms of traumatic brain injury is depression, sense of impulsiveness, mood swings. Like when I say the pendulum would swing.
So was all of
irritability?
Was all of that because you were trying to figure out if you would get back to normal, or because you couldn't find what normal was?
I couldn't find what normal was. I made a post one time, and after I'd written it, I read it back. And it was the one where I revealed that I was suffering from crippling depression. And I wrote that through tears. And I didn't even realize that I'd posted it on Instagram, because I didn't get on Instagram for maybe a few more days. But the date was like September 22nd or something. And I pretty much felt like I was going to end my life that day.
Oh no.
Like I couldn't see tomorrow. I couldn't. And once I posted that, well, my door was practically broken down by my girlfriends. God bless you for that. But they did come to my rescue. My girlfriend Miriam, Takara, Alicia Renee. They came running. They would be at my house. They would be crying. They were like, Mel, you can't do that. And I was just like, you know me. I'm so private. To put those things on social media was not me.
I was reading some of your social media, and like I said, I didn't know at the time how to even. I mean, now it all makes sense. I would text you, hey, we want to come over. You wouldn't respond. Mm-hmm. Now that I think about it, when people that and how they act different, you can't wait for them to tell you what to do. You really have to act.
Yeah.
And I will say I didn't act probably as much as I should have, because I thought you not responding was you wanted privacy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not that there was all this other stuff going on, until I actually got in front of you and I saw how you were behaving, because I'm just like, I honestly didn't get it. And like you said to me, you have not been through what I've been through. Yeah. So no, I really hadn't. So I have had my own trauma. Yeah. I can tell you what it feels like to be shot. Yeah. But to be in a car flipped over, have your head bounce off the ground, wake up somewhere completely by yourself. Yeah. Then have all this stuff happen. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but one thing I will say out of all of it, because you are strong, me and Melyssa's relationship is personal and business. Mm-hmm. And there was some stuff in our personal lives that weren't sorted out. Yeah. That we try not to bring into the show. Yeah. I was so proud of you when you sent me an email with her attorneys and everybody copied on it. Reading me for pure filth. But I was like, because you don't stand up for yourself. Mm-hmm. You are one to not like conflict. Yeah. You don't run around and have a bunch of fights with people in the streets. And so when you did stand up for yourself, well, first I was like, this bitch been taking notes. Then I replied back, bitch, who you talking to? But I mean, like, it was good to see you finally like stand up for yourself, say how you felt like I wasn't being a good enough friend, or saying how you felt like, you know, I was really, because I am so in this Hollywood Unlocked bubble that I don't necessarily look at my family or look at my friends or figure out how to be a better friend or a better family member because I am so consumed with it.
Yeah.
So it was a wake up call for me, and I was, and since then, like I loved in like your process of recovering. One, now you are being more open and vulnerable, and you finally mastered social media.
Well, I'm trying.
Shit, goddamn post. I had to call her, text earlier, and said, goddamn post is creative, organically creative, and it's fucking sexy.
Thank
Shit.
you. It was, you know, with all that time to think, I had, there was a lot of moments of reckoning, a lot, to identify behavior I had before the accident that just was, it was literally like I died and came back, and I had to come back as a different version of myself. Not everything had to go, you know, that was dope.
You still drink?
I still have a cocktail or two.
We was out at me and Melyssa were out one night.
Wait, where were we?
There. We were at Katana. And I don't know what happened. I'm sitting over here. I had two cute friends with me.
Shit.
And Melyssa was supposed to be joining me for dinner. And then all of a sudden she was in the middle of refereeing some shit that was going down. And bodyguards was coming. I was like, but you threw yourself in the middle of conflict to help a friend.
No, actually, I think I was the start of the conflict.
Were you the start?
Yeah.
Oh, you start popping off.
I don't know what
No,
was
it
going
wasn't.
on.
No, it wasn't that. It was literally this guy decided he wanted to talk to me, and
I thought that was with. I didn't even know that had to deal with you. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. So Katana, he's there with the two Dominican boys. What is that?
I don't know what they
whatever
were.
they were.
Shit,
But then Umar, Pretty Little Things, he was having his own dinner over there. And what is his security's name? That big motherfucker.
Napper.
God damn.
All I see this big old black ass napper come running.
He's huge. Huge. And so, but my girlfriend Miriam is there with our friend Bilal. So I'd come out of the Pretty Little Things, you know, little room where they were having their dinner. Jason's over here, Miriam's over here, and there's a group of guys kind of over here.
Look like Warren G's homies.
No, they look like they were on vacation. That's what it looked like. They were on vacation. So one guy comes over, and he was, I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it. He was every kind of struggle you could think of. So, and I'm just trying to be.
What are these struggles?
Everything.
I want to know.
Everyday struggle. Shout out to academics.
Struggle. So he was trying to kick it to me,
Every
and
kind of struggle.
I wasn't interested, you know. And so I had a drink there, and he was like, "Hey, wow, you're really beautiful." And I had cornrows on at the time, and I had bamboo earrings on, and I was wearing all black. And he was like, "Wow, you're really beautiful." I said, "Well, thank you very much." He was like, "Yeah, you look really ethnic." And I said,
First of all, this is a black guy talking.
yeah.
You
And
look ethnic.
So I said to him, I was like, you know, that's the look I was going for. Thanks. And so I'm trying.
Because she had braids. She had
I had
braids in there.
cornrows and I had the bamboo earrings on. So every time I respond, and then I turn my body in. Body language, read it. Yeah. And so he was like, so can I buy you a drink? And I was just like,
He didn't know you was the curve point.
yeah, I guess he did not know that. So I hold up my drink. I was like,
Round one.
got that covered. And he was like, well, you know, I'm saying, like, you know, I'd really like to take you out. I was like, I don't mean to be rude, but I'm here with my girlfriend. And he was like, so? And I was like, my girlfriend. I mean, I had to go there. I had to do the lesbo act
She became
thing.
an instant lesbian.
I became an
He
instant
didn't believe
lesbian
it.
because
Where was Rosa Acosta when we needed
you
her?
know, oh God, I wish Rosa was there, you know. So my girlfriend Miriam literally grabs my hand and she kisses it. I was like, well, there you go. You know, all the evidence you need. And so then he was like, oh, okay, well, whatever. And so then him and Miriam start going back and forth. She was like, I'm gonna need you to stop touching my girl. And he was like, who do you think you're talking to?
Oh, shit.
And that was it. And
All I know, security came, then the building security came, and I'm like, damn.
Because it turned into a thing, because then they're going back and forth. So he's calling her every kind of bitch. And then his friends come in, and I was like, whoa. And Jason's in the back watching this like a ping pong match.
I
like,
see
what's
Melyssa
happening?
in the middle going like this. I'm thinking like, look at her, the life of the party.
She got her mojo back.
It was
But then I was just like, you know what? This is getting a little bit too hot in here. So I went and found Napper. I was like, can you come with me for 1 second? He was like, what's going on? I was like, I just need your presence just for 2.5 seconds. He walks in, suddenly these guys who were like, we ain't going anywhere. These hoes can leave. They see Napper. They were like, where's the bill? Okay, yes. So, and so they signed it, and then they checked out. But that was like what, like a couple weeks ago or something like that.
Oh, this was recent.
Yeah, it was recent. I just
She
joined
started
the
coming
link.
back into society.
Yeah, I started coming back out. But to go back to the whole social media thing and why, how I wasn't acting like myself, because I wasn't myself. I was the whole moment of reckoning, or several of them, having to deal with the fact that things about me, the fact that I did not like conflict, the fact that I am not combative by nature, led me to, whenever I felt like a slight had been committed against me, or I was angry about something, I just held it in. And I just kept it inside.
She let all that shit out in that email.
And let that,
I had to highlight and bullet point that motherfucker. I color coded responses. There was a couple I had to take offline and text them, but it was good to see you, like, it was good to see you stick up for yourself. And it was good, because you are important. You're important to the culture. People will love you. People miss you. The fans that are listening, I know they're all in the comments crazy right now, because the fans miss you.
I miss them.
And I will say too, this show does go so fast, and I was so consumed that I really didn't realize. I mean, I know. Let me back. I ain't gonna say that. I do know the impact that you have on the show, but I didn't realize the impact you have for women who need a compass of moral authority on the show, in the conversations that are happening, and in entertainment, because you've been in the game for a while. You've seen the highs, you've seen the lows. There's a lot of hot topics you missed on the show. R. Kelly.
Oh my God.
Michael
you have
Jackson.
No idea.
I mean, like,
I was just saying, I was just like, all this stuff that was happening in pop culture and social media and everything that was just happening in the world. I was just like, I have no microphone in front of me. Nobody gives a fuck what I think right now. Shit. And it's not like I even trusted myself to even articulate an opinion, but I missed this.
Yeah.
I missed
you.
Yeah, I missed this so much. I missed the fans. I missed representing for, that battle-tested woman that's just been through hell, and she's still walking with her head held high and her shoulders back. And I missed being a goal for younger women who are still trying to figure out who and what they want to be, and just kind of being a proper example for some, not maybe for everybody, but I missed that, and you can only do so much with your Instagram page. But
one thing for sure, I know we definitely have to. I know you talked about doing your own podcast separate. I think having something for women, I think is important. So we whatever help we got to do, we got to make sure that happens.
And that's the other thing, is like, it gave me a lot of time to think about what's important to me. It made me also think about the fact that I'm not married and have no children, but legacy. A lot of stuff just kind of came to me over.
Was it a wake up?
Well, yeah. I mean, here's the thing: is the whole lack of insurance thing.
I didn't have insurance when you did that, but I got insurance now.
Yeah,
I got insurance because
a lot of people ended up really thinking about the what ifs, and got health insurance as a result of that. So I had to think about a lot of the stuff that I was just sweeping under the rug. We all do it. There's things that we just don't want to deal with. And I'd been living in this country, and I'd never had a credit card. I had no credit.
Really?
Yeah. I had no credit.
Wait, up to the accident?
Yes.
Hold on. Up to the accident in your whole life here, you've never had a credit card?
Nope.
How'd you pull that off?
I was cash is king.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a cash person.
I'm a cash person, but it's just because this credit is such a racket.
Listen, you're about to create a whole other fucking show.
I know, but
credit is racism. Credit is like, It is some shit that's created to separate us.
It is.
But
So
you need it.
Yeah, you do. So here's the thing. With me, I was a ghost. I didn't have bad credit. I just didn't have any, and I had no trade lines. So it's like it's so backwards. In order to get a credit card, you need active trade lines. But in order to get those trade lines, you need a motherfucking credit card. I was like, for God's sake.
Well, there are startup credit cards you can get.
Those secured credit cards,
Yes.
those shits are bullshit. So what had happened with
I got a guy too.
okay, I know you got a guy for everything, boo. But one of the smartest decisions I could have ever made was when the Jeep was, I was dating whoever.
You want to say his name?
Aaron. And Aaron bought me the Jeep. What he did was he just came to my house with $60,000 and he was like, go get what you want.
Damn.
And so
See, fellas, all y'all niggas sliding in her DMs talking about, what's up, baby? We love you. You're like everything to me. If you ain't ready to come over and drop a, and let me be clear, Aaron's a great guy.
he is the greatest guy.
So-
He's such a sweetheart.
And you said his name. You've never said his name on the show.
Our audience figured out who the fuck he was.
They
though.
did?
They did. Oh, it is, and it is
It's
what
Aaron
it
to
is.
follow, right?
Huh? I hate your
Is that his
guts.
last name?
No. Yes.
Welcome back.
But anyways, so he's go get what you want. So I could have just bought the vehicle outright, but I wanted to I wanted this to be a big purchase, a big ticket purchase. So I put down $25,000 because it took a big down payment in order for me to get a loan. And so I put the rest of the money in a bank account so that it would automatically come out every single month. And so when the accident happened, I'd had the Jeep for about 11 months or something. God, that's too short. But 11 months. And so the whole insurance payout thing didn't happen for another couple of months. So I had 13 months of excellent payment history, and then the loan was paid off by the insurance company. So that was just the best thing that could have ever happened. So I went into a Chase Bank because Wells Fargo, you know what you can do.
I'm with Wells Fargo. You don't like that?
They have
also-
problems, man.
Yes,
they
do.
got some problems, like
I'm a
the
proud
account information and it's information warfare out there. So I signed up with Chase and I ended up meeting this banker, Delcia. She's like an angel in disguise. And she said, when I was setting up my account, she said, oh, you've been pre-approved for a credit card. I was like, girl, bye. I'd never get approved, whatever. She was like, well, let's just see. Ding. And she was like, you were approved. I was like, get the fuck out
What was
of
the
here.
like? What limit?
$2,500.
That's still good for your first car.
I know, it was
Hell
great.
yeah, that's good.
And because my payment history was excellent, because I did the exact same thing. I only spent 30% of the budget of the balance. Paid it off immediately every single month. They upped my limit to $3,500, and then when I started my business account, because I opened up my LLC,
Look at Melyssa Ford.
I know it's like amazing.
You're
and
a whole new nigga up in here.
I know. So
Rebirth.
then,
Wait, can we go back? You mentioned Aaron's name on the show. What is up? So, So y'all must be in a real good place because you ain't never did that.
Yeah, we are.
The only time you ever did that was when it was talking about Daniel Sanjata.
No, you talk about Daniel motherfucking Sanjata. I don't talk about him.
Well, that's good. So you and Aaron. Well, let's save that for another show.
Okay. But I do want to go back to something that always just kind of confused me. So when maybe you can make this make sense. So when Claudia set up the GoFundMe, the visceral hatred that I know she can be an acquired taste. I get that. The fake pregnancy thing on April 1st
I
did
thought
not.
that was actually funny.
I know you would, but a lot of people did not
They were
find
mad,
that. They
huh?
were
They didn't like
pissed.
that.
They were angry.
Why?
Because they don't think women don't think it's funny when there's too many women out there that struggle with fertility issues and
It's April
fibroids.
Fools.
I know, but it was also the day after Nipsey was shot dead.
Oh yeah.
So people were like, April Fool's was canceled this year. You didn't get the memo?
Well, Black History was canceled. You missed a lot of hot topics on the show.
Yeah, and Black History
Jussie Smollett and
was
Jordan
terrible.
Woods.
This was terrible this year. We're like, we need a do-over. But what I couldn't understand was how people looked at this particular situation with, Claudia starting the GoFundMe, and they turned it into a negative. And I just didn't get that. She didn't ask for any money whatsoever. She literally set it up out of the kindness of her heart and thinking about, Melyssa, you need this, you need this help. And I lived, I paid my bills with that money. I lived off of it because I had no income coming in. And that was part of my stress was I can't work. There's no disability for me. What do I do? You know what I'm saying? So it saved me. So I couldn't understand why people had such a negative reaction.
I don't really know either, honestly. I didn't know.
It was the strangest thing to me. And I always said that if I ever had like a microphone in front of my face again, that I had to address, just how altruistic her motives were. They truly were. There was no like, oh, I'm going to get this, I'm making nothing. It was complete and total altruism. It came from the goodness of her heart. So, anybody that had a negative thought about that, you might need, I don't know, Jesus or prayer or Allah or somebody, you know what I mean? Somebody.
Well, listen.
Because,
we ran out of time on this episode. We can keep talking and talk because there's a lot of catch up that we need to do. But no, it's great to have you back. Oh, and by the way, Melissa's back on the show full time.
Hey.
Don't start at me asking me no questions.
I wasn't just a guest today.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
That seat, you started in the show in that seat is yours.
Thank you.
Don't be leaving again.
Okay, I promise not to. I'm not driving yet. And when I do drive, I'm probably going to get a Mini Cooper.
But don't you like Uber now?
Fuck no.
You don't like Uber?
No, Uber can suck a dick, man. They're so expensive. I use Lyft.
Well,
that's
Uber,
right.
And you know what? You don't really hear any negative stuff about Lyft. It's Uber drivers that are, sexually assaulting people and stuff like that.
I've actually talked about Lyft on the show.
Yeah,
Oh, you
exactly.
have?
Talk real bad.
Don't get banned from Lyft.
Talk real bad about Lyft.
Fine.
Don't get banned from Lyft.
But if Uber is sucking a dick, I'm gonna hang out with Uber. But before we get out of here,
Yes.
What are you working on?
Of course, you can check out my YouTube channel with me and my son. It's Sunday Fun, Sonday Fun on YouTube. Check that out.
And Melyssa Ford, where can people catch you?
My Instagram, it's popping right now. Okay, my content is pretty freaking
Verified
dope.
and everything.
I'm verified and everything. So it's my name, Melyssaford. But I also have a YouTube channel.
Nice.
It's my name, Melyssa Ford, same spelling, I think.
I can't remember. Well,
we'll post a link.
We'll put it right here.
Yeah, we'll post a link to it. But one thing that I did do, I just finished up this 30-day fitness challenge.
Body looks great.
Thank you. But it really helped me focus all my energy and my concentration on a goal. And exercise is one of those things that really, really, really helped me, just getting the endorphin release and, just kind of getting the brain function going again. That and a specific diet high in like really good fat, like MCT oil and avocados and salmon and that sort of thing. Like these are the kinds of things that I was advised to take advantage of by all of my doctors, my neurologists, my therapists, etc. So I'll definitely be posting about everything that I went through on my YouTube page. But right now there's episodes of me working out with my trainer Mike Rashid, who is a beast. And sorry, ladies, he's got a girlfriend.
Oh, I thought you was gonna say he was gay.
No,
That's a big old dude.
No,
and I don't want no smoke because your big ass. I saw you with that little dog on the beach. I ain't messing with you.
He's the furthest thing from, but he's a really great person, really great friend, and just acknowledge that I needed to be pulled out of the hole that I was in because he called me on.
And your content looks great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I'm critical.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Like, okay,
I appreciate
I had to
that.
hit you a couple of times. Like, okay, I love all your content.
Thank you. Thank you. So check out the YouTube page.
Well, this was long overdue.
Yeah.
Melyssa Ford.
Yes.
Jason Lee and DJ Damage.
Hey.
Not DJ Drama.
Please stop saying that.
We out of here. Peace.
Bye, everybody.